My fellow Africans, this is Mutlatsi Sibego greeting you on a Thursday morning, right in the Republic of South Africa in Johannesburg, in what used to be called Azania. I want to speak to you about a few things that are the transactions of my mind and my heart. Number one, I want to first commend the Minister, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who is also the former chairman in the AU Commission. Very, very intelligent lady, very brave, very moral. And I know that right now she's unpopular, particularly within the white race. Yeah, I said it, within the white race, because of the things that she stands for. She stands for the upliftment of the lives of black people, and she stands for the health of the lives of the black people. She stands for their success, the longevity, and their prosperity. And for that reason, I salute her and I commend her. Now, politicians may come and say, well, she's trying to feed her family. Who wouldn't try to feed a family? You are trying to feed your family too. I would feed my family, but I'm not sure if that's what she's doing. But if it is what she's doing, that's what I would do too. You're accusing of self-preservation. What would you do if you were in her shoes? So stop making accusations of things that you too are capable of. That's number one. Number two, this land was stolen from South Africans. It was stolen from the Khoisan people. It was stolen from the Xhosas. It was stolen from the Zulus. It was stolen from the Basutus. It was stolen from the Bedis. It was stolen from the Bavenda. It was stolen from everyone who is African. This land, we know the history. And we're fully aware of the fact that history is distorted when it is taught to the children of the different race. I had a debate the other time with other very intelligent and educated white South Africans whom I respect a lot. And in our discussion, I discovered that the history of South Africa, as was taught to them, is different from the history of South Africa that we know to be the true history of South Africa. And their history only traces as only back as 200, 250 years. And that's it. Beyond that, their knowledge shuts down. And this is how we know, because 200 years back, 250 years back, was the arrival of the, you call them European settlers. I call them invaders, who came with one purpose and one purpose only: to conquer Africa, to conquer Africans, to steal, kill, and destroy. And that is exactly what they have achieved. This is also written in the Bible, that the thief comes to kill, steal, and to destroy. And this has been the experience of us as South Africans in relation to the Western settlers, or the invaders, as I call them. However, that's not the reason for my recording, for this recording. I wanted also to take the time to salute the African leaders, like the president of Tanzania, for the bravery that he has displayed, the intellect that he has displayed to challenge the World Health Organization and to challenge those who sent to his country the testers of the COVID-19. Now we know, and the whole world knows, that there is something very questionable here about the testing kits of COVID-19. If a popo can test positive, and a car oil can test positive, and a goat can test positive, that means we should not be eating popo. We should not be eating goat meat, because those must be isolated forever, because they are positive with COVID-19. Anyway, that's a story for another day. I wanted to talk to us this morning about how I think Africa can regain her glory. If Africa could shut the whole world like China did, maybe for the next 100 years, take all the settlers who arrived in Africa, send them back to Europe, to China, to India, and let only those who want to be part of the program remain behind, where the land is returned back to its rightful owners, the Africans, the Khoisan. By the way, the Khoisan have been here for the past 140,000 years, here in Southern Africa. They deserve justice. Africans have been here in the continent for as long as the continent has existed. They deserve justice. While we're busy chasing after certain leaders that we say are corrupt, they've stolen from the people, what about the whites who have stolen from the people? For how many years they have stolen from the people? We are not chasing after those. We want that money. We want those trillions back. We want that gold back. We want that iron ore back. We want that land back. We want all that was stolen to be returned. If we want to take the African leaders to the ICC, you might as well take also the British throne to the ICC. You might as well take the French government to the ICC, because they are guilty of far more crimes than our own leaders, whom we are willing to sell and deliver on a platter to the enemies of Africa. We have got to, as a continent, shut ourselves in and shut the world out and begin to trade with ourselves and become one country and be in a position to teach our children our culture, our language, our tradition, our food, our spirituality, our everything, so that when the entire continent, which will have become one country, is able to trade with itself, then we'll be in a position after 100 years to then open the gates, not a gates for the foreign settlers to come and stay and take over, but for us to be able to sell to them our gold, our diamond, our cocoa, our everything, except our identity, except our spirituality, except our languages. Because those three are the key to our security as a people. When you teach your enemies or strange nations your language, they learn from your language how to defeat you. They learn from your spirituality how to defeat you. And they learn how to steal from you. And so history has taught us this, and we need to fix it so that we're in a position to have our posterity having a future that continues to last in the continent of Africa. I am fully aware that some of the things I'm suggesting may not be possible in our time, but once it is started and it continues, whether it is in the times of my children, or in the times of my grandchildren, or in the times of my great-grandchildren, the bottom line is it will have started. And once it starts and is not made to stop quickly, then we're in a position to restore Africa, to restore her glory, to restore her economy, to restore her diversity, her cultures and traditions, her food, her spirituality, her languages, her styles of fashion, her everything. If only we can wake up to this and do away with Stalin's education, with Karl Marx's education, with Lenin's education, with Plato's education, with Socrates' education, and remember the education of Kemet. Because right there, here in Africa, in Kemet, aka Zulu, is where it all started. We've got to revive this, we've got to revisit this, and do away with everything that says that we are inferior, whether it be in religion or in education. The education that teaches an African child that they are inferior is a bad education, a wrong education, and must be thrown away. A religion that says that anything of ours is inferior, demonic, and wrong is a wrong religion. It must be thrown away. It must be condemned. It must be done away with, because it wants to kill and destroy the level of confidence in the identity of an African. We've got to restore this. We've got to teach it to our children, and we've got to understand that the kind of education that says that we are better off when we are attending schools of white people is a very bad thinking, because right there children are taught never to be respectful. Right there children are taught to talk back. Right there children are taught to now get pregnant too early. I say they're taught. I say it. I say they're taught. And I know that I'll be accused of inciting, basically of saying something that is wrong. When I'm saying it, as wrong as it may sound to you, that we are not in a position to take our children to the white schools, because the education that is foreign to us does not feed our tradition, our culture, does not feed our identity and our heritage. We want an education that feeds our heritage, that feeds our identity, that feeds our everything, so that it strengthens who we are, so that we can function better in who we are than in who we must become. For the education that makes us become who we are not leaves us stuck in the process of becoming and doesn't take us back in who we were. And then we're stuck in the in-between, unable to survive the in-between. We need to therefore restore our education as a people, our identity, our everything, through our education, through our spirituality, through our social cohesion programs, and our heritage programs. This is what I believe will restore the glory of Africa, the great kingdom and empire of Kemet. God bless you, friends. We'll speak again some other time. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.